Hello, I'm Chika. I'm here to do a cardiac and respiratory examination. Here is Tracy, and Tracy is 18, above the age of 18, and she has volunteered to be my student for today. With the cardiac examination, I'm going to go ahead and start off with inspection. With the inspection, I'm going to examine Tracy's anterior part of her chest, the posterior, and then the lateral part of her chest. And I'm going to have Miss Tracy assume several positions while we do this. First of all, Miss Tracy, if you want to go ahead and lay back on your back for me. With inspection, I'm going to identify the precordium. Precordium, I'll start from the apex, walk my way up to the mid-sternal area and to the base of the heart. The second organ or point I'm going to identify in inspection is the apical impulse. And the apical impulse is usually felt in most adults at the fifth intercostal space on the left. And so when I identify this area, I'm going to go ahead and pay close attention to it. I'm going to be looking for pulsation, an abnormal excessive pulsation, which would be called a heave or a lift. And when I don't feel that, I'm going to go ahead and palpate for a thrill. And with that, I'll palpate for a few minutes and have Miss Tracy lay on her left recumbent side for me. And this brings the heart to the anterior of the chest wall, and you'll be able to palpate the thrill. And so that concludes the inspection part of it for us. I'm going to go ahead and percuss the chest cavity, and what we're doing with the percussion is we're estimating the size of the heart with that. And so with the percussion, I'm going to start from the mid-axillary area, walk all the way through the intercostal space and down to the mid-sternal area. And when I do this, the sound of the percussion should change from resonance to a dull sound, and the dull sound is usually heard over a bony prominence like a clavicle or a rib. And so when I identify that, I'll go ahead and mark it, and that shows us where the heart is in the chest cavity. And then the next part of this examination is going to be auscultation. With auscultation, I'm going to listen with the diaphragm to the 5 main valves of the heart. I'm going to do the aortic valve, the pulmonic valve, the Orb's point, which is at the 3rd and 5th intercostal space. I'm going to go down to the tricuspid and then to the mitral valve. I'm going to have you lay on your left for me, and with the bell of the stethoscope, I'm going to listen to hear those low sub-pitch voice like the S2, S3, and S4, I mean. So aortic, pulmonary, Orb's point, tricuspid, and then the mitral valve. I'm going to have you sit up real quick for me, and I'm going to listen one more time with the diaphragm while she leans forward. Aortic, pulmonary, Orb point, tricuspid, and mitral. At this point, I didn't hear any abnormal sounds. Her heart rate was regular in rhythm and in rate. It was at a 76, which is a normal rate. I did not hear any S3 or S4. There wasn't any murmurs or any gallops or any rubs or any of that. If there was a murmur, I would listen further to hear like the intensity, the pitch, the duration, and all that. And if that was present, I would go ahead and grade it from a grade 1 to a grade 6. So everything with Tracy was normal. So that concludes the cardiac examination. We're moving on to the respiratory. And also with respiratory, we're going to start with inspection and palpation. And when we inspect, we're going to go ahead and inspect the anterior part of the chest, the posterior part of the chest, while she takes a deep breath, and have you put your arm forward and take a deep breath for me while you lean forward a little bit. Good job. And what I'm looking for when she lifts her arm up is to see if there's any prominence of the ribs. So there's no sternal prominence coming up there. I'm also looking for the red, the color of the chest. Her color is pink and normal. I'm looking for the rise and fall of the chest is even, and everything is okay on that. So I'm going to go ahead and identify some major anatomical structures here. We have the trachea, we have the suprasternal notch, which is right here, and then we have the angle of fluid, which is where the second rib joins the sternum, and then we have the costal angle. And then we're going to go ahead and have Miss Tracy lean forward so we can identify the vertebrae prominence, which is the C7 and the T1. When you palpate down here, you feel the C7 and the T1, and I don't feel any abnormalities with those. So I'm going to have Miss Tracy take a deep breath for me. At this point, I'm checking for thoracic expansion. And to do that, I'm going to have my finger right here at the middle of the sternum, and I'm going to have her take a deep breath for me. Out one more time. And so you watch the rise and the fall of my thumb all together. It's even on both sides. I didn't see any deviation from normal. And so that's a good sound. I'm going to go ahead and do what is called feel for tactile fremiters. And with that, I'm going to have Miss Tracy say 99 each time I touch her chest.
99, 99, 99, 99, 99, 99, 99.
Okay, I'm going to do the posterior part too.
99, 99, 99, 99, 99, 99.
So when she says 99, I can feel the vibration in my hand. If I didn't feel that vibration, that would be an abnormal finding. So I would say there was tactile fremiters present. And so when she was taking a deep breath, I did not hear any extra long sounds like a wheeze or stridor. There wasn't any crepitus felt when I did my palpation, so everything looked good. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to measure the diaphragmatic excursion. I'll have you turn your back for me. And what that measures is the size of the diaphragm when it's fully inspired, and then when she's fully exhaled. So I'm going to have you take a deep breath and hold it, okay? And I'm going to percuss all the way down. And I'm going to stop at the point where it goes from resonant to a dull sound. So I'm going to go ahead and tape that. And then I'm going to do that on both sides and then tape. And so the next thing I'm going to do is to have her exhale. Good job. So I'm going to have her exhale all the air from her lungs, and then I'm going to start percussing from the bottom up, from area of dullness to the point where I meet resonance. So here we go. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and mark it. I'm doing that on both sides as well and taping it. And I'm going to go ahead and measure that distance. And Tracy measured at a 4, and the normal distance is 3 to 6 centimeters, so that's a normal finding. And so while we're doing the measurement, I'm going to go ahead and measure her chest circumference, and you want to do it right at the tip of the nipple. That's where you get the most accurate result, and it's at 40, and so that's a normal finding. The last part of the respiratory examination would be auscultation. I'm going to listen with the diaphragm. Deep breath for me. Good job. Deep. Deep. Good job. I'm going to have you turn your back. I'm going to listen posteriorly as well. Okay. So her lungs are clear on every lobes. I didn't hear any coarse sound. I didn't hear any crackles. That would be the sound of rubbing hair together. I didn't hear any ronca, which would be like opening, undoing a Velcro. I didn't hear any wheezing sound, which is a musical sound. So everything sounds clear. So this concludes our respiratory examination. Thank you.